Something I've realized as I've grown up is that certain environments and individuals whom I interact with, some environments and individuals I could label batteries, something which charges me, something which, when I leave that situation, I have a bit more gas in my tank. I'm a bit more energized. And then on the other end, there are these individuals in environments which we could call vacuums or drainers, something of that nature. So that idea of knowing, well, there's something which charges you and there's something which drains you. And that's where the idea of amplification comes in, because whatever state it may be, charged or drained, there are going to be additions, sort of like you turbocharge a car and it produces more power. There's going to be something which amplifies a specific feeling within you. So, what's been valuable for me is sort of understanding what actions, environments, and individuals lead to a certain state of mind. And then sort of looking closer into that state of mind and figuring out, like, what can I do to get the most out of this healthy, energized state? And what can I do to neutralize this lower, drained state? And I think that's a good place to start, just to make the distinction between certain actions, environments, and individuals lead you to specific states of mind. And according to what state of mind you're in, you have a decision to make. Do I want to neutralize this and move into something different? Or do I want to amplify this state and go into a deeper flow state?
Yeah, I feel it's about feedback. So your subconscious gives you feedback about how you feel in a certain environment, how you feel when you do a certain activity, how you feel when you are with certain people. And this takes awareness, like to recognize, okay, now I feel drained or now I feel charged. And then being intentional about, do I want to feel drained or do I want to feel charged? So it kind of like it starts with deleting what is draining you and adding what's charging you. And I feel, for instance, doing flow activities that you truly enjoy, where you forget time, where you forget everything else in your life, really. And um, this is kind of like a paradox because you flow, you are productive, and afterwards you even feel charged. And looking out for those kind of activities, this is um, this is healing and it's very beneficial. But it starts with awareness and observation.
And so that's the foundation, is awareness and observation and reflecting upon the feedback that you're given. And from there, you sort of have a loose guideline of, eh, usually, more often than not, when I do a certain action, it creates a certain result. Then you can sort of structure your decision making process around that feedback that you get. But none of this is possible without having the openness to reflect, because I feel that's the main hiccup for most people, is maybe they don't understand the power in reflecting. Maybe they're busy and they're just living on autopilot. But you can't improve anything that you're not open to, that you're not at least willing to investigate with that background idea of, potentially something could be different. And who knows, maybe, for example, in my life, my development, my journey, when I made certain changes according to individuals and environments which drained me, it actually felt worse. It felt worse immediately after deleting those things from my life. Not because I I love the state of mind that they led me to, but because I was used to it. It was what was comfortable, it was what was normal. So it felt painful and much worse when I pulled myself out of those situations, which drained me. Which is interesting because I was doing something healthy for me in a big picture. But in the zoomed in perspective, I was definitely attached to what I was used to. So that little nugget is valuable to understand that sometimes when you're making healthy changes, it's going to feel worse before the healthiness actually comes into your life.
Yeah, I had exactly the same experience because you're so used to things and you are afraid to change things, or the subconscious or something within you is afraid to change anything. And also, I feel another part that comes in is denial. So for me, I kind of like knew for a long time what needs changing, but I didn't do it because, well, one, there's this fear of change part because you're used to certain things. And on the other hand, there's denial of when you actually change things, that it gets better. And also that little things can actually have a huge effect. And like, for instance, when you just stop interacting with, I don't know, one person that isn't even close to you, but like when you interact with them on a daily basis, every time you feel like this, I don't feel great. So then when you realize, something could change, and then you change it, and then you're kind of liberated. So it's getting out of this denial state, and also having an open mind to like, oh yeah, I just experiment. I just give it a try and see what happens. So this is kind of like what has helped me um, in moving forward and also changing situations.
Uncertainty is sort of a theme here, which it's so similar to denial when you think in a bigger picture perspective, because the things which you're uncertain about bring in this energy of eh, eh, a closedness. It has this flavor of just perimeters and boundaries and limitations. And that's the tricky part about working through uncertainty is there's no guarantee that you moving into the unknown is going to help you immediately or change your life quickly. But the certain thing is that if you're in a place that you know you don't want to continue to be in, if your feedback is coming in the form of continuous, constant feelings of stress, anxiety, insecurity, a lack of physical health and mental clarity, well, then it's almost as if your option is to move into uncertainty, because the only certainty with that current lifestyle is a certain hell. And even if stepping into uncertainty is confusing and you don't know what's going to happen, it's kind of better than knowing that you're going to exist in a way that you aren't actually living, but simply existing and stuck in low energy consistently. So it's just powerful to make that jump, to make the leap, and to trust in, well, I know what I don't want. And maybe I don't know exactly how to get to where I want. Maybe I don't know exactly what I want. But if you know what you don't want, and if that's where you're at right now, the big decision is simply to open the mind and to move into something uncertain.
Yeah, and you don't have to do everything at once. So I feel you said this so well, just opening your mind and moving. And you can start with just a little thing. Or for instance, adding a nice routine to your morning that makes you happy just for you. Like meditating for a few minutes, or maybe going out in the garden listening to the birds if you're lucky and have a garden and birds, or watching a YouTube video with gardens and birds. That works too. And just something where you know, oh yeah, that makes my heart sing. And then implementing this in the morning, during the day, and then you notice, oh, there's a shift happening. And then gradually easing into the change. And yeah, this is how things can get momentum. And before you know it, everything has changed for the better.
Right. It's not something huge. It's just realizing, okay, I'm might be in a place which I don't want to remain in. And then, okay, like what can I do to amplify the things which make me feel like everything is healthy, like everything is smooth? And you gave some examples. Being in nature is one of the simplest, the freest way to just open up your mind and amplify high energy or healthy energy. And that's essentially the essence here, is just beginning to reflect, starting to open your mind and to pay attention to the feedback that you're getting. And then once you do that, you start to categorize and get organized with what drains me, what fuels me. And then through there, you begin to emphasize more of the actions which amplify healthy energy, and everything starts to work for you. And then inevitably you get to a point where your day is filled with so much good amplification of healthy energy that there's no more room for the bad things anymore. And that's just sort of the journey that you're going to get to, as long as you consistently pay attention to the feedback that your feelings are giving you. So I think that's the main takeaway here, is just realizing, what can I do to amplify the healthy things in my life? And what can I do to add friction, to minimize the things which drain me? Because life is not perfect. You're going to come across individuals in the grocery store, in some situation, which agitate your mind. But then it's a choice to focus on the thing which agitated you and amplify that unhealthy energy, or to focus on something which gets you back to a neutral state of mind. And that's going to be the thing which amplifies that healthy energy. So I hope this is valuable. It's definitely been valuable for me and Myra. And on that note, if this was enjoyable, if you have any questions, if you want to give us feedback, Myra's DM will be in description, her link to Twitter, message her there. Same with me. If you're interested in going deeper, in working one-to-one, in healing the things which may be slowing you down, creating a crystal clear plan to get where you want to go, in anything of that nature, just shoot me a message, say like session, or just shoot me a message, say session. If you're on YouTube, I deeply appreciate just if you drop a like, give us some feedback on what you thought, what was the most interesting thing you heard here, what was most valuable, anything like that. And then just share it with a friend if you know someone interested in these sorts of topics. Tell them what you got from it. Like, give them a bit of incentive to go into the video. But appreciate you watching, sincerely grateful. Is there anything else you want to say?
I think you covered everything.